All right, I believe we are live. This is Daryl Germasco, and welcome. This is the first time I have done a Google Hangout. I'm pretty excited about it, but at the same time, I am unsure of all of what's going on right now, if anyone is on or not. So you can see my eyes. I'm kind of scanning my screen. I guess I'll call it my dashboard to see if I have any people here. So with that, I will continue. The idea I had in regards to my Google Hangout, I've been wanting to do this, and if you haven't attended any of my previous online coaching programs, I've done the webcast where you hear me through your computer. I've been wanting to change it up a little bit and do something like this where you can actually see me and obviously have those like yourselves invited where you can come in and be part of my almost like a in-person group coaching session. So I decided to do it. I like to think that I'm up on the technology, but like I said, I've never done a Google Hangout before. So I said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do this, invite a few people, and I'm thinking this might be recorded. I'm not sure. I do know it's live right now. And the idea today was more open. I had a few things about maybe talk about our goals, but participation was kind of the idea. So if I don't get participation, I will just share a few things in regards to around the concept of goals and obviously getting results and achieving those goals. And I look forward to doing some more of these. I feel like it's a great way of utilizing technology. I think having this interaction where we can see each other just raises the level of, I think, the experience, and that's what I wanted to achieve and bring into the Google Hangout. Yeah, so I haven't defined a regular schedule yet. I have to look at my calendar, but it'll all be focused, obviously, on coaching and moving forward in your life, removing those blocks that we have, the fears that we have. We all have our own blind spots. We don't see what's holding us back, and this creates that space where you can come in and learn from each other. That's another area that I get excited about. Is I literally visualize this being like a seminar where we've all been to those before. The experience is heightened when you're there. You're immersed, and you're listening to other people that are involved because you can relate to it. So we can learn a lot about ourselves and moving forward from others. So that was another idea of what I wanted to create with this hangout here. So otherwise, like I said, this is my first time doing a Google Hangout. So my eyes are scanning and I'm referring to it as a dashboard and all the different functions. I do know that it's being recorded right now, so that's good. So I know I'm live. I'm just trying to see if there's anybody on at all. And if I did, hopefully I would see your smiley faces. So I don't want to click on anything because I don't want to shut this off right now. So I'm going to leave it as be. So, but once again, welcome. Who am I and why am I here? I just want to give you my why. But I am a coach, a personal coach. I do business coaching as well. A little bit about my background. I start off in the financial service industry as a financial advisor. So I started working with people, helping them specifically in the financial part of their lives, and very interested in that. I loved it. I loved working with people. I loved helping them set goals. As well, I was learning about who I was in that process of building a business and find out what was my block and what were my fears. So I'm just going to kind of jump forward here. I'm not going to go too far in the weeds about who I am. But I got into coaching, personal coaching, just the love of personal development. And it went back from the time when I was a financial advisor, actually a stockbroker was the term, and having a very challenging time making it happen. So I was a young person just out of college and just trying to make ends meet. And it was very difficult. So I found myself in Borders bookstore, and I was in the self-help section. I didn't know the self-help section even existed until I was there. And I was looking at these different authors and books, and one that stuck out and I ended up purchasing with my 2 pennies that I had to rub together was a Tony Robbins Power Talk. I didn't know who Tony was, but the description of what his, actually at that time, his tape said seemed interesting and what I needed. So I ended up purchasing it, and I only had that one, and I listened to it multiple times over and over, and it made a difference. It made me think differently. It was what he was saying I hadn't really heard before. You know, he wasn't just talking about motivational quotes. He was providing strategy. He was giving me a different perspective of looking at life and my challenges. So that began the journey of really wanting to know who I was and what was possible in my life. I already knew I was a driven person who wanted success and who wanted to get what I wanted and I wanted to achieve. But I also knew that I had a lot of room to grow. Let's just say that. So then fast forward, it helped me quite a bit. I was hungry and I got more of the self-improvement and self-help, spiritual leaders, business coaches, obviously more Tony stuff. And I end up going to a Tony seminar, Tony Robbins seminar with my wife. And that really brought it to a whole new level and invested more into Tony's programs. Yeah, I got to the point where I wanted to do more of the coaching. And it'll be, I believe, 10 years in a couple of months of myself being in the coaching business. So pretty awesome. And that's, so like I said, that is just a little about myself. So we can transition into a topic that I wanted to talk about, and that's goals. It's really the fundamentals of personal development, if you ask me. And I say that because if someone's complacent or just kind of getting by and they say that they're fine, the first challenge that I would present to them, and not really a challenge, I think what I would want to work with them on is finding out if they're going after something big in their life. Do they have goals? Because that will really figure out where you stand. If you have too small of the goals and you're accomplishing them, you can fool yourself thinking that you're playing really big in life. And the reality is you have small goals and they're easy to accomplish. And you're just kind of patting yourself on the back for accomplishing nothing really big. So goals really will take out the demons and take out what's blocking us, our fears, if we set them big enough. And something that really has been on my mind recently is the word regret. I'm at the place in my life where I've been actually in the professional world now for 20 years, which, I don't know, maybe I do look like it, but it's kind of scary to think about that I've been working in the professional world now out of college for over 20 years. And enough time to think about, God, no, what about that one time in my life? Well, what if I would have stuck with it and continued to pursue it? So that's where the word regret, thinking about, well, what if? And did I make a mistake? And would my life be different? And it's not a good feeling to have. So that's why, as a coach, it's a powerful process so that you don't have regret, so that every day you're doing something to move forward to what you want to achieve. And every day it'll start to compound, it'll start to build up, and you will shock yourself of what is possible. And I already know, if you take some time right now to think about a goal that you had set years ago, or whenever, it could have been months ago, where you thought, it's not going to happen. I don't know if I can do this. I don't have the time. I don't have the education. I don't have the finances, the friends, all that stuff, the peer group or the network. But you pushed forward and you end up achieving that goal. We all have that. We all have the success stories, whether it had been college or a job or a health goal or a financial goal, that at one time it seemed like it was a mountain was in front of us, that we could never get over that mountain, but we did. That's life. That to me is, you set a big goal, but we often don't want to go through that experience again. So that's why setting another big goal is kind of scary. But you don't want to come to that time in your life where you look back and go, well, maybe I should have done that. When I was in high school, I loved sports. I was somewhat naturally inclined to do pretty well in sports. And one sport that I really, really loved, but I didn't play on an official team, was hockey. I played pond hockey when I was just a kid with my brothers and a bunch of other kids. And I loved playing. I loved getting up early in the morning on the weekends and going out to find some ice and go out and play some hockey. And I ended up in high school, after my freshman year, I said, I'm done with basketball. I want to play something different. And I transitioned over to hockey. And I played in 10th grade and 11th grade. Well, the other sport that I was really wanting to play in college was football. And going into my senior year, I decided to not play hockey because I wanted to be in my best shape and I wanted to be available to go to colleges, because I knew I was going to get recruited. I didn't know by who, but I was going to get recruited by colleges to play. So I wanted to be available to do that travel and to do those visits. But to this very day, I kick myself in the behind for not playing hockey. Because the reality is, I should have. There was no rule saying I couldn't play any sports. But I guess I'm going to use the word, there was a little bit of regret of not playing that sport. I haven't given up on it. There was a big gap there of not playing any hockey. And I actually, this past winter, got my family on the ice and played some hockey with my son. It was a really, really cool experience. But the point is, though, when you think about goal setting, don't think about goals if that doesn't work for you. Think about living your fullest life so that the day that it's all done, and whatever your belief system is, maybe you believe you'll have another life, that's fine. But let's just go with the reality of just where we are right now and not have that. For me, my story of looking back and regretting not playing a sport that I really loved because I had some story that I shouldn't play and it didn't make any sense. So I had to live with that decision. And that feeling is not a really good feeling. So if you don't want to set goals, then look at it this way. Do you want to live a full life? And do you want to say that you gave it all and you really strived to live at your highest level in life? Otherwise, you're going to look back and go, God, well, what if I would have pursued speaking in front of people? Or what if I would have pursued that business opportunity or whatever it may be, or that relationship, or that health goal, or all of the above? I don't think you want to be in that place. So what do you want to achieve? What excites you? What will keep you up late at night and get you up early the next day? what will make you feel like this is almost effortless? What's that for you? So number one, get clear. Get clear on what you want in your life and write that down. So think of something right now, and hopefully you're working on something and maybe you've drifted from it a little bit. That's very easy to happen as well. It's easy to drift. But get clear on it. And then think about why you want it. Is it because you love doing it? Is it because you want recognition? Is it because you want to prove to yourself and others you can do it? Or hopefully there's multiple reasons of why you want to achieve this particular goal in your life. So number one, get clear. Number two, why do you want it? And number three is focus. And I think this will be posted on YouTube, and I have a YouTube video on the power of focus. And it's critical component to achieving anything that we want in our lives. So if you think about and reflect on anything that you achieved, the education, a job, whatever it may be, it was the ability to focus. And with focus comes vision, the ability to see. And then the other part of it is almost like an intuition. When you really want something, it's like that the ability to the sixth sense, right? The sixth sense, that's intuition. That's that knowingness. It's the ability to hear the universe give you the answers or give you clues. So when you're really focused on something and you're constantly visualizing it and you're excited about it, and you may not know what's next or every little step you're supposed to take, but you're motivated and inspired to keep moving forward. And then that intuition, you hear things, you see the clues, and that keeps you moving forward. If you're scattered and you're frustrated and you're far from being focused on life, everything shuts down. You know, we've been there. Emotionally, we end up shutting down. So we know that possibly feels like, but we know the other side feels a lot better. You know, being focused, knowing your why, obviously having a clear goal you're going after, and that intuition really will step in because you'll be listening. It's key to listen. It might seem like a wrong answer, but listen to the energy and things that you're seeing and noticing in your life. Take time for that. And you will, because when you're excited, you're going to be in the right energy. So you're more prone to seeing and hearing things that are surrounding you. Another thing that when it comes up when it comes to setting goals is eat the frog. That's right. Not for lunch, not for dinner. It's more of an expression. You may have heard this before. Eat the frog is about doing the things that you don't want to do, but do them early in your day. Do them first. My background has a lot to do with being an entrepreneur and a business owner. Is you have to create your own activity in your business, sales. And there was an expression when I first got involved as a financial advisor, is you would eat what you kill. I know it's not full of love, and it's not very fuzzy, but it speaks very direct that if you want dinner tonight, you better do something today. Because if you don't do something today, you're going to go home hungry. And so there's a lot of truth to that. And I've coached a lot of people where their block and their own fears prevent them from doing, eating the frog. Because they have so much fear related to, I don't want to make that phone call. I don't know what to say. I don't want to look dumb. They're better than me. How can I call them? They're more qualified and they're smarter or they're older. Whatever it may be, we'll create this block, fear, BS, so to speak, And well, we won't eat the frog. We won't do what's most important. So write that down. And it should be an activity that's going to give you a good bang for your buck. I often tell the 80-20 story with my clients that I'm coaching, that really 80% of your results will come from 20% of your activities. But those 20% of activities, will get you a little nervous. They'll challenge you. Those are good. Making that presentation, making those phone calls, doing a Google Hangout, whatever it may be. But schedule those early in your day, because the further in your day you keep pushing them back, you're not going to do it. And then you're going to come up with an excuse, and then you're going to say, well, I'll do it tomorrow. And that day you cannot get back. That day is gone. So think about a day that you put something off, say last week or within the last 7 days. I hate to break the bad news, but you can't get that day back. You can't go, well, I just had a moment where I just, I couldn't get excited about it, and I didn't have the courage to make those calls. This time, have that day back. You can't. That day is gone. You can't get it back. So if that doesn't set a fire underneath you, I don't know what else will. That's why your biggest asset right now in your life is time, because you can't get it back. If I buy a coat and I lose it, it stinks that I'm out of a coat, but I can go back to the store and probably buy one just like it, the same coat. Yeah, I had to buy it twice, but I can get it back in my life. I can't buy time back. If I wasted a morning or a whole week, that has a ripple effect. It will catch up to me when the phone's not ringing, the emails aren't coming in, people aren't coming to me, because I didn't do something. I didn't go out and stimulate any sort of activities. And I can't go back and get that week back. So that's a push. If you look to achieve, these are just the real fundamentals of what I experienced in my own life, but also have coached, and I think now over 9,000 coaching sessions. I don't know if I disclosed to you that I was a Tony Robbins coach for 6.5 years, worked with some pretty awesome people from around the world. So I draw on my experience, a lot of firsthand coaching experience. This isn't theory. This is what I myself lived, but also experienced working with a lot of people, a lot of different kinds of people all over the world. Now, speaking of accountability, I want to just, this really wasn't a commercial or looking at a promo, but I just wanted to mention I do have a pretty awesome online coaching program called Accountability Academy. Once again, it's Accountability Academy, and that is the website. It's accountabilityacademy.com. You can always message me if you can't get that, if that's not clear enough. I don't know how good this video is and the clarity of it, but once again, it's just accountabilityacademy.com. I can message you and you can get that. Okay. I did have some notes here because I didn't, like I said, this was more of an open discussion. However, being my first one, I had absolutely no idea how this was going to work out. And I'm not afraid of technology, but I've had experiences where I found a way to kind of mess it up a little bit. So I did have a little bit of some notes here around goals. All right, the last thing I want to mention, and I just actually got off a coaching call with one of my clients, and we were kind of coaching through not necessarily a goal, but more about activities and having a really great week. He's feeling a little frustrated, stressed, overwhelmed, and so we got clear on what we needed to, that he felt like he needed to do to get some of that weight off his shoulders and have a great week. And we were coaching through that. And one thing that came out of it, well, more than one thing came out of it, but one thing that will relate to what we're talking about with goal setting is the ability to celebrate. And I know I've always had a challenge with this, but we don't celebrate enough. His goals, his activities, and his mini goals that he wanted to achieve within the next week were bottom line goals, right? They're bottom line goals, and they may not be achieved every single day. And knowing where he was and feeling his heavy weights, that voice inside his head probably will tell him he's not doing enough. And no matter if he worked a 10-hour day or a 15-hour day, you know how that voice inside you will tell you, you're not doing enough. So one thing that really came through me, and I just kind of threw out there to him, was celebrate at the end of the day. And what I meant by that is think of everything that you did for the day. All the calls you made, the emails, the follow-up, everything you did, even on your own personal life, exercise, being with your family, what have you. And really take that in to give that acknowledgement of really some pretty cool things that you have done in that one given day. Because he might not achieve that bottom line result that he wants. But if he looks at what he's done and he can kind of pat himself on the back and really feel accomplished, the celebration would be whatever that may be. A walk, maybe it is watching a movie or being with your family, but just shutting off. Shut off everything else, which is necessary so that the next day he can come back ready and rested and ready to give another awesome performance for that particular day. So hopefully that makes sense. We don't celebrate. We don't acknowledge ourselves. And I think we are the best people to acknowledge our own work. I know we're looking for validation quite a bit from all the people around us, which is, it does feel good to get recognized and get acknowledgement. And however, if we're living our lives to get that from other people all the time, it's going to be pretty shallow, and it can be a pretty, frustrating life when you have that opportunity to go, hey, I've been with myself all day today. This is what I did really well. And really feel good about that. And so if you can find that little habit to do that more often, it's going to help you stick with what you're going after. Because if you set a big enough goal, it's not going to be easy to achieve. It might be a year out or less or more. So there's a lot of space in between to change our minds that we can't do it and go back to that old program and beat ourselves up, which we all know doesn't work, nor will it get you to where you want to be. So celebrate, acknowledge yourself, and know when to shut things off so you can have a sense of just being off and resting and, so to speak, healing and getting ready for the next day. It's really important. It's balance in life. And depending on what you're going after and how excited you are, that's always not easy to do. But it's important. And I'm coaching myself through this because I know I need to do that as well. Okay, well, like I said, the idea was to have some other viewers a part of my hangout, and we're going to get there. I'm pleased with, I believe this is being recorded right now as I'm just troubleshooting this for the first time. But just a summary of what we hit on. Number one was goals. There's a lot to goals. There's a lot more pieces we could have added to this. It's not the only thing of a discussion around goals, but this is a few things that I came with prepared for today. Is number one, get clear on what you want. Know why you want it, and that could be really one thing, or it could be multiple things. So stack that up, because that'll get you excited, and that is the fire in the belly that'll keep you going. Talked about the ability to focus, and I didn't mention this earlier, but it reminds me of Brian Tracy. I bought one of his programs years ago, and he used this term single-minded concentration, which it sounds so simple. Yeah, single-minded, in other words, focus on one thing and really go after it. And I find what I have experienced in coaching a lot of people is we're very, very wide. We're not focusing on one thing. We got multiple projects, and at times we feel like we're going nowhere. So you got to make a decision on what's most important to you. Get that going. Get some momentum going with that. And there's not to say you can't add another project, but it has to be done properly. Otherwise, it typically will defeat a lot of people when they're trying to do too many projects at once. So that's where that focus comes in. Once again, you can go out and check out one of my online coaching programs called accountabilityacademy.com. So you can check that out. More details on that website. Then I talk about eating the frog. Not literally, unless you choose to, go for it. But that's an expression of what you don't want to do, but it's important to do. In other words, there's some fear, or you just don't want to do it. You don't want to make that phone call. You don't want to commit to that group or that project, whatever it may be for you. Do that. Do it earlier in the day than later. If you keep postponing and pushing it off, then you'll have that story, oh, I'm a procrastinator. Well, no, you're just fearful. So you have to kind of step up and make that decision, make the call, whatever it is, and eat that frog and follow through. And it will light you up, because once you get that done for the day, it's all downhill from there. Things that are blocking you. This is where the coaching could be pretty powerful. I mentioned that we all have our we can't see our own block. We can't see it. Coaching, creating a space so that I can see it and I can call you out on that. But not just that, but working through whatever that block may be, because we have our story and we have our excuses that we just don't see the blocks anymore. Blind spots. That's why we all have our own blind spots. You have to identify those one at a time and build some new muscle on how to get through that, because usually the blocks are strong enough that you just can't push it over and it'll stay down. You can maybe push it over for a moment, but it'll come right back up and be right back in your face. That block may be that you're just not smart enough, or you're not good with people. And you might have the courage in a moment to get through that. It won't be gone forever. It's going to come back up because you've worked it so hard. You've created such a belief about that story that it's a really solid, strong block for you. So if you're a little confused on how to get through those, we can work through that. But identifying them, that awareness is key. Awareness is the first thing that is necessary to create transformation and create change for you. Then I talked about celebrating. So that's the summary. One last thing is, I'm just going to always put this out there. If you're really looking to find out what coaching's about and you want to spend some time with me, just talking about your goals, things that we talked about today, and you're serious, you're really ready to make a change in your life, I always offer a one-on-one, just one coaching call for 45 minutes with me over the phone, or we could do something like a Skype video if necessary. And that's a real reasonable $97. So what I would ask you is, whatever it is that you're struggling with or not achieving, what's that worth to you? So if you're in a place where you want to make a presentation, but you're not making a presentation, what's that costing you for holding back and being small and hiding from, something that you want to do, and what can it provide you? Could you get a promotion? Could you get more clients? So there's millions of things out there that we possibly could be holding back on. So the coaching is a very powerful experience, and it's one of those things where if someone's ever recommended something to you and it was hard for them to verbalize it, they just said, just go do this, because they wanted you to experience it. Well, that's me when I'm telling you is it's really about experiencing the process of coaching without, stepping into a 6-month or a 12-month agreement of coaching at a higher level of investments. This is just smaller, $97 to do a one-on-one to get a feel for myself, the coaching, but also ultimately get some results in that time together. So I'm passionate about what I do. I feel very comfortable putting that out there. And by all means, you have hopefully means to reach out. You can email me or through YouTube or through Google Plus. Obviously, if you got here, you have a way of getting in touch with me. So reach out to me and we can talk more about that. Well, that summarizes my very first Google Hangout. I appreciate, most likely this is, I think, going to be recorded, and hopefully you'll be able to see it and record it. And please, I will be doing more of these. Like I said, I have to check my schedule. I like to do something more on a regular basis, more routine, and do more coaching versus just me talking and presenting. But I don't have a problem with that either. So with that, I thank you. I wish you well, to all your happiness and to all your success. Be good, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.